No one, and we mean absolutely no one, was prepared for what happened at Khadiyah KD Lewis's funeral. One moment, people were watching reruns of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, thinking all the drama was just for TV. The next, young Jock was front and center at the service, crying so hard he could barely speak. This wasn't the same Jock we've seen laughing off cheating rumors or calling himself Mr. Swag while juggling multiple women like it was nothing. No, this was something else entirely. The man was falling apart in public at the funeral of a woman he once publicly humiliated on national television. So why did Jock break down like that? Why did his usual cool image shatter so suddenly? What really went down between him and KD, and why are so many people saying those tears were more about guilt than grief? The moment Jock started sobbing in that church, the internet went wild. Some said he was mourning, others weren't so sure, because maybe this funeral wasn't just a goodbye, it was a moment of reckoning. Love and hip-hop has always delivered its fair share of drama, cheating, arguments, even fights with drinks flying through the air, but nothing could have prepared fans for what happened the day KD was laid to rest. Jock, who once confidently juggled baby mamas and strolled into clubs like he owned the world, couldn't even hold himself together. His breakdown was so intense, the church staff looked like they needed to clean up the emotional mess he left behind. People started asking, why was Joe crying so hard over a woman he never truly respected in public? KD wasn't just another cast member. She was sharp, confident, ran her own businesses, and never hesitated to clap back. She didn't just show up on the show, she took it over. So when news broke that she had passed suddenly at 44, fans were in shock. But even that didn't prepare them for what happened when Jock saw her casket. He didn't just cry, he collapsed emotionally. Most expected him to maybe post a tribute, a black and white photo with a short message. But instead, he fell apart. His cries were loud, his face was buried in his hands, and his whole body shook. People sitting nearby whispered, "Who knew he had it in him?" Others didn't whisper. They pulled out their phones. Because in today's world, nothing stays private. Social media caught it all. Young Jock crying over the woman he disrespected on TV? Someone remind him what he did to her, they said. And that's when people started digging deeper. Because every emotional moment has a backstory. Jock and KD's relationship was full of chaos. One minute they were acting like a couple in love. The next, KD was calling him out for cheating with his ex and baby mama, Cena. And instead of showing any real remorse, Jock acted like it was just a regular day in his world. KD still stuck by him. She defended him, believed in him, and thought he'd finally mature. But he didn't. He kept embarrassing. Her on camera, no less. What the cameras didn't show were the private moments. The crying in her car, the breakdowns at home, the silent struggles. Now that she's gone, suddenly Jock is full of emotion. The same man who once laughed at her pain is now seen weeping at her funeral. It's hard not to question the timing. People who were there described the funeral as raw and emotional. One person even said, "I've never seen Jock like that." He didn't just cry. He looked completely lost. According to some guests, Jock had to be helped back to his seat. He sat there, head down, shaking as if trying to undo all the damage he caused. And while funerals can bring out genuine emotion, many believe this moment was about more than just grief. Some say Jock was mourning what he had a long time ago. Someone who truly knew him, someone who loved the parts of him that even he didn't want to face. Despite everything, KD saw past his image and tried to be there for him. But the big question now is, why did it take her death for him to finally show he cared? Was it guilt? Was it real regret? Or was it just a public performance to save face? This is the same man who once looked KD in the eyes on live TV and told her, "You knew what it was." So now fans are torn. Some believe the tears are genuine. Others say karma finally caught up with him. And while Jock was crying into his sleeve, other conversations were picking up. People started talking about KD's final days, the pressure she was under, the signs on social media that something was wrong, and the lack of support she may have received from the very industry that once benefited from her pain. What happened after KD Lewis passed was nothing like what you see on reality TV. There were no background tracks, no flashy cuts, and definitely no reunion episode to explain what went wrong. Just silence and suspicion. Slowly, people from her circle began to speak out. Friends, stylists, former castmates, they all said the same thing. She hadn't been herself lately. Her energy had changed. Her laugh, once loud and contagious, had gone quiet. She stopped showing up to events. Her social media felt distant. Back then, people didn't think much of it. Celebrities post vague captions all the time, but now, every post feels like a missed signal. She sounded drained. She looked tired. And just days before she died, Katie started therapy. That hit everyone hard, because starting therapy means she was trying. She was reaching for help. She hadn't given up. She was barely holding on. A close friend said Katie sent her a message the night before she passed. It was just 3 words: "Pray for me." At the time, the friend didn't think much of it. Celebs send cryptic texts all the time, but by morning, that message turned into something she couldn't forget. When emergency services arrived at KD's house, it was already too late. No loud chaos, no press, just a few sirens and hushed phone calls. The world found out only after it was all over. And from that moment on, everything online exploded. People wanted answers. What happened? Where were her people? Why didn't anyone step in? Online investigators started connecting the dots. Bloggers scrambled. Reddit threads popped up everywhere. Some said it was an accident. Others blamed mental health. But there was no official statement. No clear cause. Just more silence. And when no one talks, the internet fills in the blanks. A former crew member from Love and Hip Hop gave an anonymous quote that shook everyone. If you weren't crying or fighting, you weren't useful. That was the rule. Basically, if Katie wasn't breaking down on camera, she wasn't seen as valuable for the show. So to stay relevant, she had to keep performing, even if it broke her. Leaked messages started making the rounds, DMs from KD to producers asking for time off, pleading. One said, "I need to breathe." "I don't think I'm okay." The reply, "Let's just get through this season." That line hit fans hard. What season? What storyline could matter more than someone's life? Suddenly, Katie wasn't just a TV personality anymore. She was a real person in pain, quietly unraveling while everyone else pretended not to see. Because that's how the game works. Smile on camera, suffer in silence. They turn breakdowns into entertainment, then pretend they never saw the cracks. And what about young Jock? While all this was going on, he was back on set, filming scenes, laughing, living like Katie was a chapter already closed. But when news of her passing hit, something changed. His guilt hit hard. His breakdown at the funeral wasn't just sadness. It looked like a man realizing too late just how badly he messed up. A tweet went viral that summed it up. Katie died trying to be strong. Jay cried trying to look sorry. That one tweet said what many were thinking. Her close friends started speaking up too. One said she hadn't heard Katie's real laugh in weeks. Another said she sounded hollow on the phone. Someone else said, she sounded like she was already gone, even though she was still here. And then came the creepiest part. Someone revealed that Katie recorded a voice note the day before she passed. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't even sad. It was just quiet. Too quiet. No goodbye, no final words, just silence. And sometimes that's the scariest part, because most mental health struggles don't end in drama. They end in silence. No spotlight, no warning, just gone. Katie didn't leave with headlines. She faded away slowly before anyone even noticed. When fans realized that, the reaction was overwhelming. People were angry, not just sad, furious. They blamed producers. They blamed the network. They even blamed her castmates. Old clips of KD being mocked or dismissed started trending again. And the real questions began. Why didn't anyone check on her? Why was her pain treated like it was just part of the show? When the production team finally put out a statement, it sounded cold. A generic message with thoughts and prayers, like it was copied and pasted. One fan responded, "You gave her airtime, but not support. Now you give her a tribute? Keep it." Another said, "She was more than a storyline. She needed help, not camera angles." For a brief moment, the conversation shifted. It wasn't just about KD anymore. It was about everyone like her, the people behind the scenes, smiling for the cameras while breaking down in private, the ones told to cry harder for ratings, then forgotten when the show ends. Meanwhile, Jock's funeral meltdown went viral. Every clip of him wiping his face, walking out the church, trying to pull himself together, it all replayed on timelines over and over. Some viewers sympathized, others weren't so kind. They asked, "Now you care? Now you cry?" Where was this energy when she needed support? Then came a leaked message from Jock. He had apparently texted someone close to KD after her death. It read, "She deserved better. From me. From all of us." That line hit people differently. It didn't sound like PR, it sounded like truth. A man trying to face what he couldn't take back. But for Katie's family, her real friends, and the fans who saw the warning signs, it was too late. Her final Instagram story said, "I'm tired." Just those 2 words on a black screen. People thought it was just another moody post. But now, it reads like a goodbye. A real-time eulogy no one realized they were witnessing. And that's what hurts most. Not just that she died, but how quietly it all happened. No help, no spotlight, just another voice fading in a noisy world that only listens when it's too late. This wasn't just a loss, it was a warning. If things don't change, KD won't be the last. The funeral's over. The flowers are gone. The trending topics have cooled. But the pain, the unanswered questions, they're still here. Katie Lewis didn't just get failed by the industry, she got used. Reality TV ate her up and spit her out. Only to air a tribute like that makes it okay. But this isn't closure. This is the truth. And it's ugly. Katie didn't show up to play a character. She came as herself. She brought fire, confidence, and boldness. She gave everything. But behind the confidence, something darker was growing. The fans saw the sass and savage one-liners. They didn't see the quiet breakdowns behind the scenes. And the people in charge? They ignored it because they needed more drama, more conflict, more tears. The most disturbing part of all this? The industry saw it coming and did nothing. Katie Lewis had reportedly asked for a wellness clause in her contract, a simple request to step away when overwhelmed. It was denied. Why? Because her breakdowns were good for ratings. Former production staff admitted they were told to push buttons. If someone was spiraling, they were encouraged to lean in, not back off. Real emotions were either used for content or edited out if they didn't fit the narrative. Pain was profitable. And when Katie died, they acted shocked. But the truth is, it was never a question of if, only when. It wasn't just producers, executives, handlers, interviewers. Everyone played a part. Now, they're hiding behind condolences, graphics, and black and white tribute posts. But it doesn't erase what happened, and even young Jock, caught in the storm of public anger, struggled to handle the fallout. Some thought his grief was sincere, others called it guilt, a man mourning the woman he ignored when she was still alive. He posted one emotional video, then deleted it. In it, he said, "I thought I had more time. I never got to say I'm sorry." For a man who built his image around comedy and drama, this was the first time fans saw someone real. Not a rapper, not a cast member, just a man facing the weight of his silence. The internet didn't hold back. They dragged Jock. They dragged the show. They dragged the machine that turned a woman's pain into entertainment. In the middle of all this noise, Katie's sister posted a single photo. Katie smiling, no caption, no quotes, just silence. And that silence said everything. While the world picked her life apart for clicks and content, her family was left behind to grieve someone they actually knew. Katie wasn't just a reality TV star, she was a mother, a daughter, a fighter, a woman trying to hold it all together while the cameras fed off her unraveling. And now she's gone. In her place, we get viral clips, recycled sound bites, and fake sorrow packaged for engagement. But fans aren't falling for it this time. Former castmates are starting to speak up. Carefully, quietly. One shared that sometimes they had to film scenes just hours after panic attacks. You either performed or you got cut. That's the reality of reality TV. Now, mental health experts are demanding change. Viewers are calling for on-set therapists and contracts that actually protect emotional well-being. Production companies are scrambling, holding private meetings, hiring crisis PR firms, rewriting scripts to look more sensitive. But is it real change or just PR cleanup? Because here's the truth. Katie Lewis wasn't just a name that trended, she was the final straw. The moment that made everyone stop and look. She tried to get help, she started therapy, she reached out, she asked for time. She even said, "I'm tired." But no one listened. Not when it mattered. Now people are paying attention. But it took a death to get here. And the question remains, if nothing changes, who's next? This isn't about one woman anymore. It's about a system that feeds on conflict, tears, and trauma, and gives nothing back. Katie's pain was real. Her death wasn't a cliffhanger, it was a tragedy. And if the industry keeps moving like nothing happened, then yes, another KD is already out there, breaking quietly, just like she did. So here we are. The tribute specials have aired, the flowers have wilted, but the hurt is still fresh, and the questions won't go away. Katie Lewis brought fire to the screen. She fought hard, she laughed louder than life, and she carried more than anyone should have had to. And now she's gone. Far too soon. So don't scroll past this. Don't reduce her to a meme or a moment. Ask the real questions. Did the show do enough? Did her friends fail her? Does the industry need to change or burn? Because silence is what killed her, and silence is not an option anymore. Justice for KD isn't just a post, it's a warning, it's a demand. Evolve or implode. Her name was Katie Lewis, and we will not forget her.